that's for sure. I always have an old toothbrush. When you're done, don't use the toothbrush to brush your teeth or brush the dog's teeth. Today is one of the days I've been planning for a long time. It's supposed to rain on and off all day. We had a couple of nice rides on the 650. I want to just not have to clean it after riding in the rain. So I thought today would be a good day. Even though I'm a couple of miles up to where I could go with this, I like to change the oil every 3,000 miles. I'm very fussy about changing the oil and filter. One of the reasons these bikes I think have been pretty reliable over the years. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to do today, and Karen made a good suggestion. It's not supposed to rain for another hour or so. She says, "Why don't you do this? See, this is why I respect her opinion." She says, "Go out and do all the yard work first. Take care of that, and then you can have the whole afternoon in the garage to do your maintenance." Now, the 750 is coming up on time for an oil change. I got the oil filters. I also wanted to go, if it's raining and I get this all done, I wanted to head down to Cycle Gear and see if they have those Joe Rocket, the light colored jackets in stock. The reason I'm so excited about that, I really am convinced the color made a difference, because the last couple days it's been hot, and I don't know if it's just my imagination, but the jacket, the black or dark colored jacket, feels hot to the touch. The pants don't, and maybe that's the secret of that silvery material. So I don't know, but they have the jacket that's exactly the same, and if that's the case, I want to try it on. Another thing I found out with the Joe Rocket jackets, because I have a Joe Rocket leather jacket, Joe Rocket leather pants, you got to go by their size chart. You can't just go by the, like you take a medium shirt and you, So I wound up having to send some stuff back because I ordered thinking, oh, I wear 36 pants. Well, I'll just, not going to work out that way. But anyway, they do have a size chart. I do want to get the maintenance done, but I'm going to change the way the schedule I normally would do today. I want to get all the yard work done because it is supposed to rain. And while it's raining, I can be in the garage, changing the oil, doing the maintenance. I got to clean the chain, and if I do have extra time, I'll even swap out that front tire with the black wheel. But we'll see how much we can get done before it rains. And to be honest, the last two rides I had on this bike, I phoned in with Rob and I checked in with him, and he was very jealous that I got to ride it. But well, we tried, but it didn't work out the way we planned. But the bike has proven to be, I think, it joins the list of bikes that I have ridden for many years, and then put some restoration time into to make them that they're keepers for the rest of my life. And this one is certainly one of them. Now, the 750 is due for the big maintenance, and the way this day is playing out, I'm just waiting to see how this day is going to play out weather-wise, and that you never know. There's been days that they predicted rain all day, and I rush and hurry, and then the sun comes out. But I'm not sure this is one of those days. And I really feel in my heart of hearts, if you do the maintenance religiously, I have a book. I record every single time I do any maintenance. Anytime I think something is overdue, I just go check the book, and I can tell how long the tires lasted, how long various brands of brake pads lasted. All the little detail items, they're all logged into my log. To talk about a lot of maintenance, the filter is working great, the waterfalls are working great. We had some unexpected repairs to do on this in the last week or so, and the garden just couldn't be nicer. Karen is so happy with her garden. The funny thing about Mother Nature, this hydrangea last year had 2 blooms. We counted 2 blooms. This year, look at it. It's a trophy winner. Now the truth is I don't have that much grass to mow, but if I don't keep after it, what good is having a beautiful garden and a grass that isn't mowed or edged? What's the big more fun? Mowing grass. And when we finally lock up the shed, this is always the best part of any day. when this goes to sleep. But between the pond and the garden and the motorcycles, the little collection of motorcycles, they always need maintenance. There's no such thing as an old motorcycle that doesn't need any maintenance, unless you don't ride it. If you just put it on the shelf or something, I guess that's true. Karen and I have committed to a high maintenance lifestyle, a high maintenance house. I guess the only thing we don't have that's high maintenance are the cars, because basically they're 11-year-old cars and there's nothing to do to them. I wanted to give a little shout out to my son Craig, who helped me dig this pond 24 years ago, and he's out in Colorado, and God bless him. He has a good life. And now it's time to celebrate with another cup of coffee. The best part of the day. And it's supposed to be big rain coming this way within the next couple hours. Somehow you never know how good that cup of coffee can taste until you mow the lower 40 acres. Now we're free to do some maintenance on the motorcycles. Yeah, this is a wonderful way to start off today. Get everything done before it rains and have extra coffee. And of course the birds have to be fed. That's a top priority, even more than motorcycle maintenance. And when a day like today comes, I like to have all my oil filters and oil and tires, everything ready to go. So while I'm out doing the maintenance on the 750, Karen's going to bake, what is it, a chocolate cake? Yeah. A chocolate. So the first thing we have to do is play musical motorcycles and move these around. So what we want to do is use the dirty part of the rug for doing the oil change. So this is handy. We can get the engine oil up to temperature here before the rains come. Boy, I'm looking at those clouds though. There's a nice picture, the two ninjas. Okay, we're up to operating temperature. Time to get the bike in position. Now, because I have rugs in the garage, and the rugs serve a purpose that all winter when I'm crawling around out here, better than crawling on cold concrete, believe me. But now I want to protect them. I don't want to drop or drip or drool, even though sometimes I do make a mess. Maybe I should rephrase that. All the time I make a mess. I don't know how you can do an oil change without making a mess, but I managed to get one done. Every once in a while I get one that doesn't have what's that? And there's definitely a few things make this a little bit easier, just a tad. Number one, this bike has some kind of aftermarket exhaust. I don't know what brand it is, but it's not the stock Kawasaki exhaust. The stock one has mufflers on each side of the bike. But here's the thing, they made it in such a way that you can get to the drain plug and the oil filter without taking anything off the bike. You don't even have to take the lower fairing off. Very convenient. Now I always loosen the filter and just let some of it drain out, because down under here everything is super hot right now. And one of the things that's nice, I have a couple of years ago Lowe's was blowing these out for 20 bucks at the end of the season, a nice ceiling fan, because it is hot working around this bike right now. And with that out, I let whatever drains out, and I'll wait a minute or two and then take the drain plug out, and then we'll move the bike back and forth to make sure we get every drop of oil out that we can, and let it sit for 10 minutes while I do something else around here. No, it's just draining out now. So we got the drain plug out, we got the filter out, and now I have to be patient and make sure every single drop gets out of there. And I've been rocking the bike back and forth. Sometimes you see an extra shot glass of oil come out. This is where a little patience pays off. But I have other things to do in the garage, so that I can be patient and let all that oil drain out. Now, some interesting information I learned about oil filters over the years. Number one, even the manual says you only need to change your filter every other oil change. I change it every oil change. It's so inexpensive. These filters are like $6 a piece when you buy them from, I get them from Partzilla. The aftermarket ones I know you can get even cheaper, but I don't want to compromise the oil filter. I don't want to compromise the oil. I don't want to compromise the oil filter, because these bikes, number one, the money I'd save, the peace of mind I have when I'm out 100 miles from home that I'm wearing out the engine. Another thing too, if you ride the bike like a touring, just go cruising around, but I tend to ride a little bit harder than that. Not like a racer or a track day, but a little bit harder. So there's a lot more strain on the motor, and I think this is just a great way to prevent having a motor wear out prematurely. And because I've been religious about doing that since the day I bought the bike, I know one speedometer we had, we took it off with 47,000, and the one we put on, I have, I'm not sure how many miles, I'd have to check, but I'm sure we have over 50,000 miles on this bike now. And the thing that I always think is worthwhile, it runs absolutely like a Rolex watch and does not burn one drop of oil. So that's the test. And I remember Tim's GS, he had 80,000 on the bike. So, and I've heard of people going over 100,000, but that's when you do the maintenance. When you don't do the maintenance, I'm not sure that's true. And once I've got everything cleaned, as whistle clean as I can make it, the spring goes back in next, the new filter goes on top, and then a washer, and then this is ready to assemble. Now, I have a new O-ring. I want to make sure I have one. This does not come with the filter, but I do have one, I think, in stock from the last time I did this. Now it looks like it's my lucky day. I have one left, and these don't come with the oil filter. I guess they're not supposed to be replaced every time, but and I don't have any leaking yet, so I better quit while I'm ahead. 36,000 miles, and maybe that's the original one. I don't even know. Now I'm trying to include all the information on this that might be helpful. If you look at this groove, and I'll clean this, of course, with a Q-tip. The old O-ring, it's not symmetrical. It's not just a round O-ring. It's got a flat side and a round side, and to be aware, the round side does go down in there. Another little tip, just put a few drops of oil on that. That's the new gasket with the little groove. You can see the groove. It's pretty self-explanatory which side goes down into that groove. And so this whole assembly now, with the spring underneath, is ready to screw back in. So all of where the cavity where the oil filter would go, I try to get that as clean as possible with some clean paper towels. Clean around where the drain plug is, clean this whole area up in fact, and we're ready to put the oil filter back on. Okay, that's down in place, snugged in. The drain plug is next, and we're ready to put the oil in. So I'm logging in all the oil change and maintenance information today into the logbook. And one of the little extra things I like to do when I do this is I sprayed the bottom of this with some of that Harbor Freight Solution 50/50. And it just makes it a little bit cleaner, and well, just anything that might be loose, I can see it, or leaking, I'll see it. A little bit easier than if it's just all full of grease. Now what I like to do with the oil, but I'm not going to be able to do it today, is take it out on a sunny day, and when it's really sunny, and just look at it, make it move around, and if you see any little sparkly, like little metal flake chips in there, I don't know, maybe you're a little too rough on equipment, I don't know, or shifting without the clutch or something, I don't know. But that oil looks clean. But of course the real test is to do it. Now, hey, and a final thing, our town, and you can check with your town you live in, I pour that into a milk crate, a milk bottle, and they recycle it. It does not go to waste. They turn it into vegetable oil and they use it to cook McDonald's hamburgers or something. But it's a shame just to dump it in the river, that's for sure. Now the 750 is one of the few bikes that has grease fittings on all of the suspension parts, the lower back suspension. Now for people that don't have one of these bikes, this bike has an air rear shock, so I can adjust the air pressure the same as you can on a GS front fork. Well, very handy. It's a very precise thing. You can adjust the pressure in very 1 pound increments even. But here's what's really cool about it. Having a grease gun keeps fresh grease in there all the time, so it's very, very smooth. Or just to show where the grease fittings are, and there's a bunch of them up here. If you look at the manual, it'll show there's some up in the top. The whole objective of this, the whole thing is, it keeps that rear suspension, that's an air suspension, keeps it really nice and smooth. And I just pump fresh grease in until I see nice fresh grease coming out. It's not dirty. And I know that then there's other links in there, but that really keeps the back suspension really nice. Now in my oil cabinet, I always try to keep
plenty of inventory of oil. It's just me, because on these days I don't want to have to run down to the shop. And I actually got some of this from Amazon recently, and it was $1 cheaper a gallon from Amazon than it was at the motorcycle shop. Now what happened in '09, I bought the R1 brand new, and they of course it was under warranty, and you had to use Yamalube, so I started stocking up on Yamalube. I bought cases of it, and since the time I've done that, I've never had any issues relating to oil, so I'm kind of going to stick with Yamalube. And again, the local motorcycle shop that sells this stuff, it was $1 cheaper and no shipping from Amazon Prime. I have no idea what that's all about. So another thing I've become a big believer in is not overfilling the oil. Now, I understand if a motorcycle burns oil, you always want to keep it at the top of the two little levels, but I really don't want to do that. I want to keep it right in the middle. Now what I have to do is put in a little bit less than what this needs, run the bike so the filter gets filled and it circulates the oil, and then top it off 2 or 3 little times, because I want that bar right in the middle. Alright, now the whole idea is I wanted to see the oil pressure light, which is always on because there's no oil in the filter. I wanted to see that go off. That means the filter is full. Let the engine oil circulate a few minutes and just let it sit here, and then I'll stand the bike up straight and see if I'm right in the middle of that window where I want to be. This is the part you have to be just a little bit patient. Just add a few ounces at a time. As I can see, we're already at the bottom line, but what I want it to be is I want it to be right in the middle. And I don't want it overfilled either. I don't know what motorcycles, there are some that get damaged when you overfill them. They do all kind of silly things, and I don't know what they are. But I've heard if you put an extra quart of oil in the engine, you could damage the engine. And obviously we don't want to do that, especially with our pride and joy here. So it looks like I'm just going to repeat this over and over again. Just let it sit. And then I'm going to just try to see what the trouble is with the oil being clear like this. It's funny when you take, oh, we're coming up nice. Let's see, try to get the bike balanced. We are exactly in the middle. Maybe it's my lucky day. Hooray. I don't know. But anyway, we'll button this back up, and the last thing of the maintenance that we're going to be able to do right now is the chain. I want to get the chain done. So the normal maintenance I would do on a chain every maybe 1,000 miles is, this is diesel fuel, and I keep a 5-gallon can of it out, not in the garage, because this stuff really stinks. Then I use this little bottle. I just transfer enough of it over into the spray bottle, and some kind of little toothbrush or cleaner, and a rag that at the end of the project, the end of the cleanup, gets thrown away. So this bike doesn't have a center stand. Obviously it came with one, but I don't have it. So the first step, of course, is just spray a little bit of this on, let it sit for a minute. Now the diesel fuel really is good stuff. It really does a perfect job. Here's the things not to do. Don't get it in your eyes, like obviously. Throw the gloves away when you're done. Throw them away. That's for sure. I always have an old toothbrush. When you're done, don't use the toothbrush to brush your teeth or brush the dog's teeth. Or even worse, your wife's teeth. That's a terrible thing. Anyway, but the only downside I've ever found of using diesel fuel to clean parts is the smell. It lingers. It's really strong, odoriferous stuff. So, but hey, we're doing maintenance today, and this is what I call the rainy day maintenance. And there's just no substitute. I want to keep the bikes as reliable as possible, as long as possible, and I don't have any plans to abandon the approach that has let me have this collection for so long. And with as few breakdowns as I've had, I ought to quit while I'm ahead. Now, the one thing to never do, don't spin the wheel and put your finger in there, boy. And now I won't mention any name, because somebody told me they put their bike up like this and run it in first gear, and then I'll just hold a rag here. I would not suggest doing that, and I won't mention whose name that was. Maybe they've changed their tune too, because number one, the thing can fly off the center stand or the jack. That's number one. Number two, something can get caught in the chain and pull your finger in, and having worked in a machine shop for 11 years, I know how quick a fly cutter can pull your sleeve right into the machine or whatever. Anyway, this is just preventive maintenance. Then I'm going to do the lube it with chain wax and then check the final adjustment. Now, anybody that ever adjusts chains, and there's a million good videos on YouTube, pointless to make a video right now, of adjusting the chain, because here's the bottom line of it. There's, no matter what chain you use, and no matter how you ride or how much mileage on it, there's always a hard, unless when the chain is brand new, there's a spot where it's tight and there's a spot where it's loose. And you want to adjust it on the spot where it's the tightest. If you find the spot where it's the loosest, now this chain has a lot of mileage on it so far, and it's hard mileage. This is not gold wing mileage. This is, we're riding a motorcycle. That's the whole purpose of having these. But I wanted to just show this really quickly here. This is something, there may be an inch of play. An inch is about right. Then you can come around, a little looser there, a little tighter there, a little tighter there. I want to find the tightest spot of the whole chain, where it's the tightest. Now I was doing this one time, actually I did it on video, and I was checking the chain, and I saw one of the links just looked too far apart, and I got the camera. It was on the GS in fact, and one of the links had totally eaten up the bushing for whatever reason. There's a loose spot right there. So now the thing is, you would not want to adjust the chain there because it would be too tight in the other spots. If it's a little loose, nothing bad happens. If it's too tight, not good. And by the way, on track day, if you pull up the tech with a chain that's real tight, they turn you away. Okay, so now I'm taking the cleaner part of the rag. That diesel fuel has had some time to soak in. And we'll just go about it. Get as much of the grit off as we can. There's always, what happens is the grease picks up the dirt, the sand off the road, and then what really happens is it becomes grinding compound if you don't do this. You actually probably would be better off if you don't clean the chain often. You're better off not lubing it because then the dirt doesn't stick. And I'm sure there are some people that's their philosophy. And I read the thing when Vlad was buying or had bought a Modus that they tell you don't lube the chain, and they'll just, if the chain goes bad after so many miles, they send you another chain. But I guess they know more than I do, so. But then everybody does. Okay, so while we got this diesel fuel on a rig, all these little spots in here, and everybody knows I'm a little fussy about keeping everything clean and neat, and it's just, if you do your own maintenance, hey, if you bring the bike into a motorcycle dealer and say clean it, or work on it, and I'm never sure about that, but it's not for me. I would always prefer to do the work myself. Anyway, this was quite a good maintenance routine. I don't have the time today because Karen has some other things planned here. And actually we're coming up on the baby's birthday. The baby is going to be 9. And we're planning to have a party for him soon, on his birthday of course. And I'm not so sure because we've been, as a family, we've been getting together, but this will be the first time we've had an extended kind of group family meeting. Now it's just me of course, but anytime I have the back wheel of the motorcycle jacked up that I can spin it conveniently. And by the way, this bike does have, it did come with a center stand, but again, I don't have one. And I have 2 of these bikes, and neither one of them has a center stand, so I'm not sure. And they're not available from Partzilla, I've already looked. So that would make this a little bit, well, just a little bit easier, but we always have the car jack, and I'll always like to have the wheels clean. These are my babies. So I think it's safe to say the maintenance for this part, except for changing out the front wheel, we'll do that another day because this is just, the Karen's got other stuff to do and I don't want to push it, and I want to see how that chocolate cake is coming out. I'm getting hungry already. But we always try to do, I always try to, and it's a thing I always try to help other people figure out because I was pretty good at doing it my whole life. Figure out how to use a day. And a rainy day, I want to do
a small motorcycle collection, there's no such thing as I'm done with the maintenance. There's always something to do. There's always a tire to change, an oil change, a filter, a cleaning, a polishing, a whatever. But if you keep up with it, it's not bad at all. The problem is if you let it go. If you spend the whole summer and just ride the bikes and don't clean them, at the end of the year it's like, yeah, but some people do that, but it's not for me. I don't want to end the video without thanking the healthcare workers, and it's such a special thing that I've seen, and through this whole coronavirus, I've seen people that are true heroes, and everywhere I ride, north, south, east, people have those signs on the front of their house, thank you healthcare workers, thank you. So I'm ending the video. I'm going to go inside and see if that chocolate cake is ready. I'm ready for a piece of that cake. But anyway, we hopefully have, before we have to do another maintenance day, another 3,000 uneventful miles. And this bike has been, it's an 89. It's been dead reliable. I can't say a bad thing about it for a bike this old. It's got a real nice set of brakes, real nice suspension. And I love the sound of it, the sound with the Norton muffler. It's the sound I love, backing off the gas in corners and stuff. And to be honest, I know that's, you know, that's kind of funky to do that, but I like it. Just like ice cream. I like ice cream too. I know it's not good for you. I love that. Anyway, I enjoy making the videos, and thanks for watching. In the video, we have a beautiful chocolate cake. Just got to put the icing on it. And by the way, this is true. I know people don't believe. Karen and I have both been and graduates of cake decorating class. We went together. Pretty cool. Now, no day is complete without a chocolate cake from Karen. Some sprinkles. Put more. Oh, open a big side up. Don't be a baby.
Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Come on, you need more sprinkles. Actually, Miles loves. Let me get it. Miles loves sprinkles. There you go. Be generous with the sprinkles. Here we go. Look at this. It's snowing sprinkles. Guaranteed. Hey, this has been a wonderful day of maintenance and cake eating. Mostly cake eating. So again, I hope you did enjoy the video. Hope you did enjoy the cake. I will.
You will for sure.
For sure.